Ajahn Chah was a Thai monk in the forest tradition, which is one branch of Theravada Buddhism. When not staying in a monastery, forest monks wander on foot through the countryside, either on pilgrimage or in search of solitary retreat places in nature. After many years of travel and practice, he was invited to settle in a thick forest grove near the village of his birth. His simple, direct style of teaching, with the emphasis on practical application and a balanced attitude, attracted a large following of monks and lay people, and thus a large monastery formed around him. He was a master at using an unusual simile to explain points of Dharma. The following is a small collection of his sayings. Please read the description for more information and where to find free books on Ajahn Chah and his teachings. Your meditation practice is like raising a duck. Your duty is to feed it and give it water. If it grows fast or slow is the duck's business, not yours. Let it go and just do your own work. Your business is to practice. If it's fast or slow, just know it. Don't try to force it. This kind of practice has a good foundation. Most of us just talk about meditation practice without having really done it. If you just listen to the Dhamma teachings but don't practice, you're like a ladle in a soup pot. It's in the soup pot every day, but it doesn't know the taste of the soup. You must reflect and meditate. Some people get confused because these days it seems like there are so many teachers and so many different systems of meditation. But it's just like going into town. One can approach the town from many directions. Whether you walk one way or another, fast or slow, it's all the same. Often the different systems of meditation differ outwardly only. There's one essential point that all good practice must eventually come to, not clinging. In the end, you must let go of all meditation systems, even the teacher himself. If a system leads to relinquishment, to not clinging, then it is correct practice. If your mind becomes quiet and concentrated, it is an important tool to use. But if you're sitting just to get concentrated so you can feel happy and pleasant, then you're wasting your time. The practice is to sit and let your mind become still and concentrated, and then to use that to examine the nature of the mind and body to see more clearly. Otherwise, if you make the mind simply quiet, then for that time it's peaceful and there is no defilement. But this is like taking a stone and covering up a smelly garbage pit. When you take the stone away, it's still full of smelly garbage. You must use your concentration, not to temporarily bliss out, but to accurately examine the nature of the mind and body. This is what actually frees you. The essence of our practice is to watch intention and examine the mind. You must have wisdom. Don't discriminate. Don't get upset with others if they are different. Would you get upset at a small and crooked tree in the forest for not being tall and straight like some of the others? That would be silly. Don't judge other people. There are all varieties. No need to carry the burden of wishing to change them all. If you want to change anything, change your ignorance to wisdom. In meditation, you must continuously be attentive, just like when planting a seedling. If you plant a seedling in one place, then after 3 days you pull it up and plant it in another place, and after 3 more days, pull it up again and plant it somewhere else. It will just die and not grow up and bear any fruit. Meditation is the same. If you do a 7-day meditation retreat and after leaving it for 7 months you go around soiling the mind and then come back and do another 7-day retreat where you don't speak and you keep to yourself, it's just like the tree. Your meditation practice won't be able to grow and it will die without producing any real results. As the mind develops calm, it is held in check by that calm, just like a chicken that is put in a coop. Once inside the coop, the chicken is unable to wander outside, but it is still able to walk around within the confines of the coop. The action of walking to and fro doesn't lead to any great harm because the chicken is always inside the coop. Some people don't want to experience any feelings or thoughts when they meditate, but thoughts and feelings do arise. The awareness that is present when the mind is calm, however, keeps the mind from getting agitated. This means that whenever there are thoughts or sensations walking around in the mind, they do so within the coop of calm and so cannot cause you any harm or disturbance. If defilements arise, you have to do something about them. Defilements are like a cat. If you give it as much food as it wants, it will constantly be coming around to look for more. But if one day it scratches you and you decide not to feed it anymore, it will finally not come around. Oh yes, it will still come around meowing at first, but if you remain firm it will finally stop doing so. It's the same with the different defilements of your mind. If you do not feed them, they will not come around to disturb you again, and your mind will be at peace. Your body and mind are like a gang of thieves and murderers. They keep trying to drag you into the fire of greed, hatred, and delusion. They cheat you through the pleasures of the senses. They call in sweet melodic voices from the other side of the door, saying, "Oh, come here, please come here." And when you open the door, they shoot you. The teaching gives us the simile of a man trying to catch a lizard which had run into a termite mound. The mound had 6 holes in it. Now if the lizard had run in there, how could he catch it? He would have to close off 5 of the holes and leave just 1 hole open. Then he would have to sit and guard that hole. When the lizard ran out, bop, he's got it. Observing the mind is like this. Closing off the eyes, the ears, the nose, the tongue, and the body, one leaves only the mind. To close off means to restrain the 5 senses, leaving only the mind to be observed. Meditation is the same as catching the lizard. People want happiness, not suffering. But in fact, happiness is just a refined form of suffering. Suffering itself is the coarse form. We can compare them to a snake. The snake's head is unhappiness. The snake's tail is happiness. The snake's head is really dangerous. It has poisonous fangs. If we touch it, it'll bite right away. But never mind the head. Even if we go and hold onto the tail, it will turn around and bite us just the same because both the head and tail belong to the one snake. Likewise, happiness and unhappiness, pleasure and sadness arise from the same snake, wanting. So when we're happy, the mind isn't really peaceful. For example, when we get the things we like, such as wealth, prestige, praise, or happiness, we become pleased, but the mind remains uneasy for fear of losing them. That very fear isn't a peaceful state. Later we may really lose those things, then we truly suffer. So if we're not aware, even when happy, suffering is imminent. It's just like grabbing the snake's tail. If we don't let go, it'll bite. So, be it the snake's tail or head, that is, wholesome or unwholesome conditions, they're all just characteristics of the wheel of existence, of endless change. I'll tell you a story about the Supreme Patriarch, something I've heard from other people. He went to China and when he arrived, the Chinese gave him a teacup. It was really beautiful. There was nothing like it in Thailand. And as soon as he received the teacup, he suffered. Where was he going to put it? Where was he going to keep it? He put it in his shoulder bag. If anyone touched his shoulder bag, he'd say, "Watch out. Don't break the teacup. Watch out for the thing that can break in there." So he was always worried about it, suffering from it. Suffering from having and then clinging. That's what made him suffer. One day a novice let the teacup slip from his hand and it broke. The Supreme Patriarch said at last, "That's the end of my suffering." This is called events happening to free him from his suffering. If the teacup hadn't broken, he would have probably been reborn as a hungry ghost right there. It's like the things in your house. If there's nothing there, you suffer because you want to have things. You think that once you have things, you'll be comfortable. But once you have them, you still suffer because you're afraid they'll get lost. You don't understand the suffering that's already arisen. Right now we are sitting in a peaceful forest. Here, if there's no wind, a leaf remains still. When a wind blows, it flaps and flutters. The mind is similar to that leaf. When it contacts some mental impression, it too flaps and flutters according to the nature of that mental impression. And the less we know of Dhamma, the more the mind will continually pursue mental impressions. Feeling happy, it succumbs to happiness. Feeling suffering, it succumbs to suffering. It's in a constant flap. If we don't know how to handle suffering when it arises, we won't be able to get any relief from it. It's just as if we have an itch on our head and we scratch our leg. If it's our head that's itchy, then we're obviously not going to get any relief by scratching our leg. If you don't oppose and resist your mind, you just follow its moods. This is not right practice. It would be like indulging a child's every whim. will that child be a good child? If the parents give their child everything it wishes, is that good? Even if they do so at first, by the time it can speak they may start to spank it occasionally because they're afraid it'll end up spoiled and helpless. The training of your mind must be like this. Don't indulge its whims. We should all train our heart and look after our mind. Our mind, when it's not trained, is like a small, innocent child that doesn't know anything. Whatever it comes across, it pounces. If it comes across water, it pounces on the water. If it comes across fire, it pounces on the fire. It keeps causing harm to itself. The Buddha didn't want us to follow this mind. He wanted us to train it. If it goes one way, go the other way. In other words, whatever the mind wants, don't let it have it. It's like having been friends with someone for years, but we finally reach a point where our ideas are no longer the same. We no longer understand each other. In fact, we even argue too much, and so we split up and go our separate ways. That's right, don't follow your mind. Whoever follows his mind follows its likes and desires and everything else. This means that that person has not yet practiced at all. People who have wrong understanding practice meditation like a thief who, after having got caught, hires a clever lawyer to get him out of trouble. Once he is out, however, he starts stealing again. Or they are like a boxer who gets beaten up, nurses his wounds, and then goes to fight again, which only brings him fresh wounds. And this cycle goes on endlessly. The purpose of meditation is more than just calming ourselves from time to time and getting ourselves out of trouble, but is seeing and uprooting the causes which make us not calm to begin with. You must contemplate in order to find peace. What people usually mean whenever they say peace is only the calming down of the mind and not the calming down of the defilements. The defilements are simply being temporarily subdued, just like grass being covered by a stone. If you take the stone away, the grass will grow back again in a short time. The grass hadn't really died, it was just being suppressed. It's the same when sitting in meditation. The mind is calm, but the defilements are not really calm. Therefore, samadhi is not a sure thing. To find real peace, you must develop wisdom. Samadhi is one kind of peace, like the stone covering the grass. This is only a temporary peace. The peace of wisdom is like putting the stone down and just leaving it there. In this way, the grass can't possibly grow back again. This is real peace, the calming of the defilements, the sure peace which results from wisdom. The teaching that people least understand and which conflicts most with their own opinions is the teaching of letting go or working with the empty mind. When we conceive this in worldly terms, we become confused and think that we can do anything we want. It can be interpreted in this way, but its real meaning is closer to this. It's as if we were carrying a heavy rock. After a while we begin to feel its weight, but we don't know how to let go. So we endure this heavy burden all the time. If someone tells us to throw it away, we say, if I throw it away, I won't have anything left. If told of all the benefits to be gained by throwing it away, we would not believe it, but would keep on thinking, if I throw my rock away, I will have nothing. So we keep on carrying this heavy rock until it becomes so unbearably heavy and we become so weak and exhausted that we just have to drop it. Having dropped it, we suddenly experience the benefits of letting go. We immediately feel better and lighter, and we know for ourselves how much of a burden carrying a rock can be. Before we let go of the rock, we couldn't possibly know the benefits of letting go. Later on, we may start carrying burdens again, but now we know what the results will be, so we can now let go more easily. This understanding that it's useless carrying burdens around and that letting go brings ease and lightness is an example of knowing ourselves. Our pride, our sense of self that we depend on, is the same as that heavy rock. Like that rock, if we think about letting go of self, we are afraid that without it there would be nothing left. But when we can finally let it go, we realize for ourselves the ease and comfort of not clinging. When we say that the mind stops, we mean that it feels as if it stopped, that it does not go running about here and there. It's as if we have a sharp knife. If we go and cut away at things randomly, like stones, bricks, and glass, without choosing carefully, our knife will quickly become blunt. We must cut only those things which are useful to cut. Our mind is the same. If we let our mind wander after thoughts or feelings which have no use or value, the mind will become weak because it has no chance to rest. If the mind has no energy, wisdom will not arise, because the mind without energy is a mind without concentration. Greed, hatred, and delusion are the causes of all our suffering. We must learn to overcome them and free ourselves from their control. This is very hard to do. It is like having the Buddha tell us to leave a friend we have known and loved from the time we were still children. It is not easy to make the separation. When contemplating a meditation object, check to see which object is right for you. It's like food on a tray. You have to contemplate for yourself to choose which foods are right for the conditions of your body. In the same way, you choose a meditation object right for you, the in and out breath. Or you can contemplate the body. In practicing, you have to keep at it gradually but steadily, like water that falls and drops steadily into a big water jar. The jar doesn't dry out, the animals living in the jar don't die. A knife has a blade, a spine, and a handle. Can you lift up only the blade? Can you lift up only the spine of the blade, or only the handle? The handle, the spine, and the blade are all parts of the same knife. When you pick up the knife, all three parts come up at the same time. In the same way, if you pick up that which is good, the bad must follow. People search for goodness and try to throw away evil, but they don't study that which is neither good nor evil. If you don't study this, then you won't have real understanding. If you pick up goodness, badness follows. If you pick up happiness, suffering follows. Train the mind until it is above good and evil. That's when the practice is finished. People think that doing this and memorizing that, studying such and such, will cause suffering to end. But it's just like a person who wants a lot of things. He tries to amass as much as possible, thinking if he gets enough his suffering will get less. It's like trying to lighten your load by putting more things on your back. This is how people think, but their thinking is astray of the true path, just like one person going northward and another going southward, and yet believing that they are going in the same direction. No matter where you go in the world, there is suffering. There is no escape from it as long as your mind is in the world. It would be like trying to escape the odor of a big pile of excrement by moving over to a smaller one. In big piles or little ones, the odor of excrement is exactly the same wherever you go. People, if they don't feel pain, don't open their eyes. If they're happy, everything shuts down and they get lazy. When suffering stabs you, that's what gets you thinking, and you can really expand your awareness. The greater the pain, the more you have to investigate it to see what causes it. You can't just sit there and let the pain go away on its own. Right now, my arm feels heavy. Why? Because I've picked up this glass. If I let it go, the glass won't be heavy, or at least won't be heavy on me because I'm not connected with it. The same with stress and pain. Why is it heavy? Why is it painful? Because you're holding on to it. But you don't understand that it's stressful. You think that it's something special, something good. When you're told to let it go, you can't let it go. When you're told to put it down, you can't put it down. So you keep on being heavy and keep on suffering. All things are just as they are. They don't cause suffering to anybody. It's just like a thorn, a really sharp thorn. Does it make you suffer? No, it's just a thorn. It doesn't bother anybody. But if you go and stand on it, you'll suffer. Why is there suffering? Because you stepped on the thorn. The thorn is just minding its own business. It doesn't harm anybody. It's because of we ourselves that there's pain. Form, feeling, perception, volition, consciousness, all the things in this world are simply as they are. It's we who pick fights with them. And if we hit them, they hit us back. If they're left alone, they won't bother anybody. Only the drunkard gives them trouble. It's hard to give up sensual pleasure. Consider sensual pleasure like eating some meat which gets stuck between your teeth. When you get it out, you feel some relief for a while. Maybe you even think that you won't eat any more meat. But when you see it again, you can't resist it. You eat some more and it gets stuck again. When it gets stuck, you have to pick it out again, which gives some relief once more until you eat some more meat. That's all there is to it. Sensual pleasures are just like this. When the meat gets stuck in your teeth, there's discomfort. You take a toothpick and pick it out and experience some relief. There's nothing more to it than this with sensual desire. Many people contend that since the mind is inherently pure, since we all have Buddha nature, it's not necessary to practice. But this is like taking something clean, like this tray, for example, and then I come and drop some dung on it. Will you say that this tray is originally clean and so you don't have to do anything to clean it now? In the end, people become neurotic. Why? Because they don't know. They just follow their moods and don't know how to look after their own minds. When the mind has no one to look after it, it's like a child without a mother or a father to take care of him. An orphan has no refuge, and without a refuge, he is very insecure. Likewise, if the mind is not looked after, if there is no training or maturation of character with right understanding, it's really troublesome. When you see the harm of what you're doing, you can stop. You watch it until you can stop, until you can give it up. It's like lighting a lantern and letting your child loose. The child doesn't know anything. It crawls over and tries to catch hold of the flame. Then it'll start crying. The next day, if you try to take the child to the flame, it won't touch it, for it's seen the harm from the day before. It'll stop trying to catch it. Right here is where insight helps us. We really see. Whatever we really see, we can really let go. Knowledge is like a knife. You hone it until it's sharp, really sharp. Then you put it away. The knife can cause both benefits and harm. When a person of discernment uses it, it's sharp. A person of discernment can get lots of benefits from it because it's sharp. But a person without discernment can use it to destroy the nation, destroy happiness, destroy harmony, all kinds of things. And he can do it easily because the knife is sharp. When knowledge comes to a fool, it's like putting a weapon in the hands of a bandit or an evil person. He'll shoot people all over the place, kill all over the place. When knowledge comes to a wise person, the nation and its people get along easily. These days, we pin our hopes on knowledge. We worship knowledge. We rarely worship goodness or correctness. When you have knowledge, you need to have goodness and correctness as well. When you encourage these things, the world will go well. But here it's, I've got knowledge, so I'm in charge. In this way, everything goes to hell. That's what it's like when you have knowledge without goodness. Many people who have studied on a university level and attained graduate degrees and worldly success find that there is still something missing in their lives. Although they think high thoughts and are intellectually sophisticated, their hearts are still filled with pettiness and doubt. It's like a vulture. It flies high, but what does it feed on? However much we want the body to go on living for a long, long time, it won't do that. Wanting it to do so would be as foolish as wanting a duck to be a chicken. When we see that that's impossible, that a duck has to be a duck, that a chicken has to be a chicken, and that the body has to be the body and get old and die, then we will find strength and energy when we have to face the changes of the body. People go through life blindly, ignoring death like revelers at a party, feasting on fine foods. They ignore that later they will have to go to the toilet, so they do not bother to find out where there is one. When nature finally calls, they have no idea where to go and are in a mess. Most people wait until they get old before they start going to a monastery and start practicing the Dharma. Why do they leave it till they get old? It's like old grandma. You say, "Hey, Granny, let's go to the monastery." "Oh, you go ahead," she answers. "My ears aren't so good anymore." You see what I mean? When she had good ears, what was she listening to? Finally, if she does go to the temple, she listens to the sermon but hasn't got an idea of what's being said. Don't wait until you're all used up before you start thinking of practicing the Dhamma. Contentment doesn't depend on how many people we are with. It comes only from right view. If we have right view, then wherever we stay, we are content. But most of us have wrong view. It's just like a maggot living in a pile of dung. It lives in filth, its food is filth, but it suits the maggot. If you take a stick and dislodge it from its lump of dung, it'll squirm and wriggle back to its home. We are the same. The teacher advises us to see rightly, but we squirm about and are uncomfortable. We quickly run back to our old habits and views because that's where we feel at home. If we don't see the harmful consequences of all our wrong views, then we can't leave them. The practice is difficult, so we should listen. There is nothing else to practice. If we have right view, then wherever we go we are content.